Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Apex Greatness. I am your host, Russell Broderick. That way, that was the weirdest point I could have possibly done, but that way is Dario Albuquerque.
Am I going the right direction?
Yeah, you actually are. It's money. It looks good. You're good to go. As promised, we are here with another fantasy football podcast. Today, we're going to start something that I would like to do every single week, which is we're going to come with a blank DraftKings slate. And we're going to run through each position, each spot, and we're going to try to make a competitive, respectable, hopefully dominant, best case scenario, lineup. So without any further ado, let's start, right? Wait, do you have anything to say?
What kind of league is this?
So for those who don't know, it's a good question. For those who don't know, DraftKings full PPR league, right? Full point PPR. So anybody who, let's see if I can get some of the last names. So every catch, 100 yards gets you a 3-point bonus, right? It's pretty much standard fantasy rules for PPR.
Yeah. But is this like one of those leagues or like one of those games where you go more boom bust versus like if you were putting 25 down to get double your money back?
Yeah.
You'd be like going more consistent.
Difference between a cash game and a GPP, you say?
Yeah.
Well, let's play it not safe for this one. Let's try to find the best possible people at each position and try to build a lineup around that.
Okay.
So, where do you want to start? You pick.
I usually start from the top down.
All right, so let's go. So we're going into quarterback. So
yeah,
there's a couple of quarterback's a weird one because there's a lot of guys that have the potential to put up 20 fantasy points as a quarterback, but at the same time, like picking the wrong quarterback can tank your entire lineup.
Yeah.
For this, I lean towards quarterbacks that can either do one of two things. They either run the football a decent amount, or that it's almost like a guarantee that they're going to hit 300 yards passing. So, somebody last year who hit the 300-yard mark a billion times is Matt Ryan. Literally all but 4 games were the only times he didn't hit over 300 yards.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But they were really pass-centric offense last year.
Well, this is what I was going to ask. Do you think they're going against Seattle, who last season was the 24th best? So basically, one of the worst pass defenses in the league statistically. But they just got Jamal Adams to shore up their secondary. So I'll start with Matt Ryan. What do you think about Matt Ryan?
Just to go back to Seattle, do you think, because we know defenses are going to be the worst in these first couple of weeks because this is more like preseason for them.
Right.
So I think this is great opportunity for if you know a defense was already bad, you should just attack that defense no matter what.
Yeah.
Because you know that there's most likely going to be a lot of shit that goes wrong. But Matt Ryan, I feel like he's going to have to throw the ball. Like, because Seattle's supposed to be really good this year. And I feel like once they start going up in the game, Seattle's going to run the ball a ton. So I feel like Matt Ryan's going to have to go quick in the offense and pass it more. So I could see Matt Ryan being a good.
Like kind of like what happened last night in the Chiefs-Texans game, where Kansas City just went up by a fuck ton, and then Watson finished with 20 fantasy points last night because he ended up having to throw a lot and having to come back, and he got that rushing touchdown, saved his day.
Yeah.
But
and Will Fuller got to hook me up a little bit. You already know.
Who do you like at quarterback?
I picked this, and I was just doing this quick. I picked Russell Wilson because I know that Atlanta's defense isn't the greatest either. So
this is something that I this is actually interesting, and we can touch this in a second. But I think Atlanta's defense is being looked at very incorrectly. Atlanta's defense last year was bad, as you can see here with the defense at a glance, but they were bad, but they were also extremely injured. Like, to a very they had most of their starters were hurt last year, especially during that period of time where it felt like everybody was just like opening a can of whoop-ass on them offensively, like just gaining a shit ton of yards. Because I know Tampa Bay lit them up a few times, but the thing about Russ Wilson is, this is interesting. Him saying that he feels like he's just now entering the prime of his career. That's interesting to me. But this is my thing. This is my thing with Russell Wilson. Is he going to run the football? Because if he runs, like if he gives you some of this, like towards the end of the year at the top here, where he's running the ball 8 or 9 times a game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that greatly helps his fantasy outlook, as you can see through these last 3 games of the year. But when he doesn't run, as you can see underneath there, when we look down here, this part of it, you can see that it greatly affects his production if he's not running the ball. Here.
Gotcha.
See what I mean? Unless he has one of these games where he throws for 5 touchdowns and what was that, Tampa Bay? Oh yeah, I remember that game. That was crazy last year. But
I feel like he tries to start off pretty. I don't know. I could see it going either way.
Also,
but I feel like Atlanta's not.
Oh, go ahead. Well,
no, you're good. You're good.
Also, Russell Wilson, historically, slower starter. This year was the outlier for that, usually, because he has a couple of big games. Well, this is actually week 3. I can't see underneath that point. But, actually, I should be able to. Russell, and I like how this points it out. So he's got 14 fantasy points. Then he blew up against New Orleans. Blows up again against Tampa Bay. He had a pretty good year last year. I don't know. At $7,000, I think we can find people that are more interesting at this position. What about Cam Newton at 6,100? Patriots seem to have a lot of confidence in him, right?
Yeah.
And the Dolphins, I haven't heard anything about the Dolphins adding a lot to their defense.
Yeah. And I know their defense played better towards the end of the year last year.
That's definitely true.
So that, and they beat the Patriots. But I think the system is going to be a little different, and it's going to throw teams off.
Yeah.
At first, especially the Dolphins, I could see the Patriots doing well, but I could also see them being more of a running team. I don't know. It depends.
Well, do you think Miami's defense is going to play good to start the year? Do you think Miami's going to come out and try and do you think they really?
I would never think Miami's going to just come in.
But do you think? Let me ask you another question. Do you think this game in general is going to be high scoring? Because it's really not about wins or losses, Dario. You got to remember that, and this is something that's important for all fantasy people to know. Whether your fucking players win or lose the football game is really irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant when it comes to fantasy.
But it matters towards the game, though.
What matters most? Hold on. What matters most is, are they going to put up points in said game? You know what I mean? Like if you're going up against a strong defense, like let's say San Francisco's, the odds of you putting up 20 points goes down immensely. But when you're playing the Miami Dolphins, I feel like Cam Newton's going to get a lot of opportunities to get rushing touchdowns, and that might bring his upside up.
Yeah, that. Yep. I I could see that. The only thing is I know that if Patriots start going up by a good amount, they're not just going to run it up. And I feel like they're going to go towards more of a running style game to eat the clock because they just play smarter. They don't play.
And you don't think
like,
Cam would be doing any bulk of that running? That's the thing we don't know, I guess, right?
Yeah, it depends. Like, I know they're going to have three running back set, but they also are going to use Cam in different ways and like bootlegs and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, much different Patriots offense than we've seen. So I don't know. Like, he could be really good, or he could be pretty average because it depends on the way that they work him in the system.
We're gonna do let's do two more quarterbacks, then we'll move on and we'll pick one. Okay.
Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
I know that sounds weird.
Against Baltimore?
Baker, yes, because if you look at it historically, or at least last year, he did really well against Baltimore.
Nah, he didn't.
The one game they destroyed Baltimore.
They scored 15 points in week 16. I'll get it on Sleeper so I get the full thing. But I don't think he did at all. I think it was more of a the one. Well, first of all, the one game where the Browns won, Nick Chubb had like 18,000 yards. Because I had Nick Chubb that week.
Oh, maybe.
And he had 100. He had almost 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. But here's the thing with Baker Mayfield, right? He's got all the weapons around him to do damage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got all the weapons around him to do serious damage. And he
22 points.
Yeah, so week 4 he had 30 of 20, 342, and a touchdown and an interception. But Baker's a guy, I think. What do you I don't know. I feel like where his receivers go, he will go. It's a weird team there because actually, you know what? I take that back. This guy is going to make the team go because literally all the people around him, he has a embarrassment of riches on offense. Like, we talk about Tampa Bay having their embarrassment of riches with Tom Brady. Ironically, the Browns are right up there in terms of offensive talent that they have. They got Odell, they have Jarvis Landry, they have Kareem Hunt, they have Nick Chubb, they have Austin Hooper. They have so many solid people. So it's just a matter of how much you trust this guy to not fuck up. And so far, he's starting to feel more comfortable in the offense. But I've heard things like, oh, he's coming into camp. He came into camp very out of shape. Like, things like that worry me. And when you have a Ravens defense and a Ravens team that's just on a fucking mission to try and win it, they have to be thinking championship or bust this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like
I don't know if they put up a lot of points against them because the Ravens were a team that did blow motherfuckers out last year a lot.
Yeah, but I don't know if that Ravens is it going to be the same team though, or is it?
What gives you reason to think it's not?
I just don't like to have 2 years straight of that like bad playoff performances. I don't know if that's gonna make the team like grow the team or if it's gonna destroy the team.
Usually in football, it's a growing process. When teams lose in a hard way the year before, they typically come back stronger the next year. From a football perspective, almost always, unless
I feel
they
like
blow
Lamar
the
is
team
that
up.
type of person. Yeah, I feel like Lamar is the type of person to come back strong. But
okay, last guy I wanted to talk about.
Kyler Murray. Oh, sorry.
Oh wait, you got one?
I wanted to say Kyler Murray as well because I think he's gonna be a low key MVP candidate.
So far, just want you to know, so far you've picked the 2 quarterbacks going against 2 of the 3 hardest defenses in football.
Yeah, but he actually did. I know for a fact he did good against San Francisco last year.
Yeah,
and they have a hard time with the legs, with his
the running
quarterbacks. So I feel like he's gonna have upside with the legs because he's gonna get you a bunch of yards, and he seems to be really smart. And he has 3 solid receivers to throw to.
Yeah.
Plus, he has a good running game.
Mhm.
So, Kenyon Drake was another one that I was thinking about, as like a kind of a sleeper pick, because no one's gonna want to go against San Francisco's defense, and I feel like that's one of the weaknesses for the defense.
Is their running attack or their
The running. Well, I feel like the running games have done well against that defense.
That's interesting.
But he in particular did pretty well against them.
So all right, so let's go Kyler Murray. Let's see what happens.
Nah, if you have other people, I was just saying people that I was thinking about for this week.
In my head, you want to talk about someone no one's going to pick? This is a guy no one's going to pick.
Yeah.
Absolutely nobody. Tyrod Taylor hasn't had a meaningful game in a very long time. He's been screwed out of multiple starting job opportunities. He put together some very solid seasons for the Bills, and I think that when another team, embarrassment of riches offensively, a lot of talent. You know what I mean? And he's a guy that has a history of he can win football games. I'm trying to find his last full season. There we go. Like, completely capable of putting up fancy production, right? And this was on a Bills team with not a lot of talent at all.
Yeah.
But more specifically, look at what he does on the ground. He runs the ball too.
Yeah.
And at such a cheap price, I think it'll open up crazy shit as we go forward.
And they're going against Cincinnati too.
That's the other thing. Is like, how good do you think the Bengals are going to be this year? And especially out the gate. Like, that's the other thing. Fresh out the gate, I think this could be a shocker.
You see, but the whole thing is I feel like people are still looking at the Chargers to win that game. And they're expecting the Chargers. Like,
yeah, but you know what they'll do? They'll go like this. They won't pick Tyrod Taylor. They'll pick Eckler.
Yeah. And
they'll go Keenan. And that'll be it. And I want to go a slightly different way.
Yeah. Do you feel like he's going to have, like, how much points do you think he's going to score? Because I could see Kyler going 20-plus points. Especially
I could see Tyrod getting 6 carries, 50 yards, and maybe a rushing touchdown. But he's probably getting 250 and 2 touchdowns. If you include any kind of rushing floor, he's going to hit that 20-point mark. And he's going to be lower owned than Kyler, I think.
Okay.
Which also matters when we're talking about GPPs. You want to find the guys that are least likely to be owned in the best possible situation, and I think Tyrod's in that spot.
I can see that.
Very disrespected quarterback.
I like that. I like that pick. That's definitely an out of the box pick.
Yeah. So So let's go to running back. So one of my philosophies that I utilize a lot when I do DraftKings is game stacking. Like if I think both, like for example, the Chargers and Cincinnati's defenses, the Chargers secondary has a potential to be exploited big time with the loss of Derwin James, one of their leading safeties. And there's another cheap guy sitting here who I don't know where the ownership's going to be on AJ Green. What do you think?
I could see him being at probably like 15%, something like that, but not something crazy.
So let's go find him, because this is another guy, and I'm on this kick right now, especially because this season is going to be upset city with like all the, like, with the lack of preparation that everybody's really had.
Yeah.
Shit. I think it will be I think it's going to be a situation where AJ's going to have an opportunity to really shine here. Especially in week 1, he's going to be fresh. He just said he's finally at 100% for the first time in years. Just got to find the last time he played a full season. So he played the first half of 2 years ago, and he was fine. Completely, totally safe from a fantasy perspective. And his last full year, this is a guy who's a legitimate number 1 option. And wide receivers aren't exactly like running backs where, like, once they hit 30, they're fucked. You know what I mean? But it's just a matter of how much you think AJ's injuries are really going to hold him back. Most of the time, for him, it's like, I don't want to have him in a season-long perspective as... he's 32, not 31. But from a season-long perspective, it's hard to have him because you're afraid he's going to get re-injured. But in week 1, I'm not fucking worried about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a good bring-back piece with Tyrod Taylor. And it gives us... There's plenty of more wide receiver spots to go, so we can keep looking.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much I'd trust AJ. Because you don't know what the this is gonna be the quarterback's first snaps. Like I just feel like it's gonna be tough. Like we're factoring all this in as AJ Green with Andy Dalton, who's been doing this for years.
Yeah, but Andy Dalton was at best the 20th best quarterback in the league. Like,
yeah, and
if Joe Burrow, you don't think Joe Burrow is better than that? You just don't know.
I'm not just outright saying Joe Burrow is better than Andy Dalton right away. He hasn't done anything to prove that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But in the situation where offenses are going to have great advantage, I don't know. I could just see this game, to me, has sneaky shootout written on it. Like,
I don't know. I look at it as more of
I could see the defenses just getting torched back and forth.
I feel like you're underestimating that Chargers defense. That defense isn't just solely on one guy. Like,
no, but their front 7 is really good. Their front 7 can really play. But I feel like if Burrow's able to get any kind of protection, I think he's going to be able to make some connections with these wide receivers. Because it's not just AJ. You got Tyler Boyd there. You got this guy, Joe Mixon, who catches shit out of the backfield now.
Yeah. Like, I feel like he's more of the safer choice.
Oh, that doesn't make any sense to me. Because got done telling me that their front 7 is good. I'm not sending a one-man gang into Joey Bosa and a solid front 7.
I just know a rookie quarterback is more than likely going to check down before making big plays like that. Ooh, it depends on the quarterback.
Yeah, if the quarterback's any good, I'd assume not. You know what I mean? Pat Mahomes wasn't doing that shit. I'm not trying to say Joe Burrow's going to be Pat Mahomes, but that's how you find out.
This is his first ball. This is his first snaps ever against real NFL talent, and it's going against a pretty decent defense. I'm not going to trust. I wouldn't put my money on it personally, just because.
But you'd rather have the running back run face first into Joey Bosa 17 times for 2 yards.
No, I'd rather.
That's what I don't understand. That makes no sense. I'd rather
have. The running back is always going to get a point just for him tossing it. It's not going to be. I think it's going to be more like checkdowns. Like, if you're getting a multiple, like, catching, going, like, if he catches it and goes 5 yards or whatever, like, sure, you're getting small, but he's always going to get 1.5 points all the time. Like, he's going to throw it more. He's more likely going to throw it to that running back than that receiver.
I said he was catching passes. He's not exactly Christian McCaffrey. And also, here's the other thing. Here's the other piece that you got to take into consideration. Their head coach used to be the offensive coordinator for the Rams. And one thing they do is run 3 wide receivers. And, like, they use the wideouts a lot. And that's what happened with last year when they had John Ross and they had Tyler Boyd playing. Like, it was a lot of throwing to the receivers.
And that was with Andy Dalton, though.
You are overrating Andy Dalton.
No, you're overrating Joe Burrow. You're saying that
Andy Dalton and Joe Burrow are probably going to be. If Joe Burrow might be, like, to say that Joe Burrow's going to have a bad game just because it's his first game is not a good call. I don't think that's a good idea.
What I'm saying is I wouldn't bet on it.
Well, that's the idea of gambling, my friend.
I know, but to me, that's like a really I'm going way out of there. I feel like you're going too much out of the box.
Well, that's
for that.
But you'd rather play Baker Mayfield against Baltimore. Like, that doesn't make sense. That's confusing.
Because he's actually had like good games again. Like, there's actually some type of proof that he something can happen.
Sometimes
you're going with someone
and you tell me this all the time with basketball. But sometimes the physical proof of what people have done doesn't always tell the whole story, right?
Yeah, sure, but you're picking a guy who's been out of the NFL for a year and a half.
Correction, I'm picking two guys that have been out of the NFL.
Literally that's where I was going. I was going to say you're picking a guy that hasn't been in the NFL for a year and a half, and then you're picking another guy who's never been in the NFL at all, never seen any of these coverages.
Well, I'm not picking him. I'm not putting Joe Burrow on my team, but I am going to put AJ Green on my team, a guy who's dominated defenses for when he's healthy, and he says he's healthy. And this is a guy who's constantly said he's not healthy. You know what I mean? Like, throughout last season, this was constantly like, I'm not playing. Like,
so the three receivers that I personally picked was, to your point with the Patriots, I picked Julian Edelman because I know Cam. One, most people aren't going to trust Edelman without Brady.
Yeah.
And Cam, apparently Edelman has been his favorite target as of lately. So we'll see. I'm hoping for that. And plus, I just know Miami's defense isn't going to be the greatest thing ever. I got Diggs because I like the whole Josh Allen and Diggs connection, especially against the Jets. I don't I don't expect the Jets to put up that much of a fight.
Yeah, the only thing about that is it's supposed to rain. And that scares me every time.
Yeah.
When it rains, the game plans change a lot.
Gotcha.
And that's my fear.
I didn't know it was gonna rain.
I mean, I could double check it, but that's some shit as a fantasy player. Like, Sunday morning, you get up and you fucking check the weather. It's the dumbest thing, but it's so important because it makes or breaks you. Like, because if you're like, for a snow game, if you have a bunch of the wide receivers and you're in a snow game, have fun taking some goose eggs. Fucking it's a problem.
And the last receiver I have, and I actually am trusting this more than I'm trusting your AJ Green one is Deshaun Jackson because I think he's gonna be awesome boom bust. You got Carson Wentz full health, him at full health, and you're going against a horrible Washington team.
Yes.
So
he is known for going off in week one. Also, he has great week one performances for multiple years in a row.
Yeah.
So I'm fine. We can definitely throw Deshaun Jackson in there. I'm good with that. We got to pick a running back. You were talking to me about Kenyon Drake. Against San Francisco, 16 for 67. He did get 6 catches, which is good. I don't know. I just worry about them. And then the first game of the year, he had 15 for 110 and a touchdown, and then 4 for 52. So he probably broke one because 15 for 110 that's a pretty good yards per carry.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I try to stay away from San Francisco's defense. Like, I really try to, because Richard Sherman not only is a good player by himself, but he's like an on-the-field coach. Like, I just stay away from that. I can understand if you don't want to go with a receiver.
I can understand if you don't want to go with a receiver, but the running back, like, Well, he's averaging what 20? What is it? What is that 46 points? So 23 points against them last year, and this is the same team. And if anything, this team got better. So you're not going to be able to just focus on the running back because you got three pretty good receivers out there. So I don't know. I could definitely see Kenyon Drake giving you a nice little 20-point game.
Yeah, says he's all these guys are coming off like these weird ticky-tack injuries.
Yeah.
All right, let's try it. How much is he? 6,400? That's fine. With this last wide receiver spot, we can pick a stud because we have plenty of money.
Yeah.
So there's only really one place to go here, and that's this place. And
everyone's gonna have him though.
But it's, first of all, that's not true because at $9,000, he's hard to fit in a lineup and justify having when you can just pay down and get like Devontae Adams against Minnesota, who has no corners. They got rid of all their good corners.
Yeah.
I think people are gonna more than likely pay down instead of going all the way up to Michael Thomas here. And since we don't have anybody over $6,500 in this lineup, we can afford $9,000. You know what I mean?
Do you like Austin Eckler as the running back, or you think everyone's gonna have him?
So that's a great question. He is the only one of these running backs over $7,000 with a green, the green thing. People like clicking on that shit.
Yeah. The opponent's ranking.
Yeah. Personally, I don't know. Green Bay's defense was okay, especially to start the year last year, but they were pretty bad against the run.
Yeah.
And Dalvin Cook is a fucking animal. And so I think people would probably go that way. The thing with Eckler, I love Austin Eckler. I think Eckler's going to have a really big year. I've said it multiple times, including times on the show. But I've been hearing a lot of things that people are unsure of the true amount of work he's going to get. What do you think? Do you think he's going to get like the workhorse back role? Like
who's his competition? Is it just Jackson?
So there's Justin Jackson, and then there's this third string back that people like. I can't remember his name. Josh Kelly, and he's actually battling with Justin Jackson for the number 2 spot.
Yeah. So I feel like they've had success with Eckler in the past.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they're gonna definitely, and especially in the first game of the season, I feel like they're gonna lean on that core way more because you want to have you want to have the guys who you don't want to switch up too much because you're already gonna have a new quarterback in, and but does Tyrod Taylor throw to the running back?
So really? This, my friend, this is something I wanted to talk about when we got to tight end. Because the one thing that I know for a fact that Tyrod Taylor does do is he is notorious for having a safety valve tight end. And Hunter Henry is I love Hunter. Yeah. I love Hunter Henry. He's a fucking animal. He's a legit tight end. And if he stays healthy, he will be a top 5 tight end from a fantasy perspective this season.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw him in. Now that I'm thinking
about it. I like that. So we definitely won't go Austin Eckler.
Yeah, I think for this, but that's not to say, just for people listening, that's not to say that I don't think Austin Eckler is a great fucking pick. I just don't. Maybe we'll have the money for him, but I just don't think that we will. With the rest of this line.
I'm not gonna bank on on the I keep wanting to say the Clippers because I see LAC, but the Chargers. I'm not banking on the Chargers offense for one game. Like usually you do that. You do a 3-person setup like that if it's like a high powered offense,
or it's a full. Or if you're stacking the game, like you think the game's like they're gonna score like 40 points or something as a team.
Yeah,
I think they'll score like 24 points as a team, and so I think there'll be touchdowns to go around. Sometimes Eckler eats all the touchdowns. I've definitely seen games where that happens, but Phillip Rivers was also the quarterback. So,
yeah.
Different guys, different mindset, but I mean,
And Tyrod might be doing a little bit more like sneaks and stuff, like
yeah, he's going to run to an
yeah,
extent.
because
And
he has
that's
more, definitely more of the legs
yeah.
than Phillip Rivers.
Let's go to defense because we can shore up some of our money.
So I know this sounds crazy,
Here we go again.
but I'm going boom bust, and I'm
Uh-huh.
going Saints defense because
Okay.
I think Tampa Bay. I know everyone looks at them and they're like they're gonna be a high powered offense, which I agree, but I think it's gonna be too soon. They haven't really worked together that long, and you have Mike Evans, who's most likely not gonna play the game.
Yeah.
He's doubtful.
Yeah.
And I just feel like this is the best game for Brady to look bad, and it's just perfect for the story.
Can I ask you a question? Because this is something that I thought about. Mike Evans, we know, is not playing, like you said, right? Do you think they're going to put Marshawn Lattimore onto Godwin?
Maybe.
Because I think if they put Marshawn Lattimore onto Godwin, and Lattimore is able to do the same type of damage that he does to Mike Evans, because Mike Evans always has bad games against New Orleans because of Lattimore.
Okay.
So,
but I think I think they're gonna probably have Mike Evans in, but try to just decoy him or something. I feel like that's what they should do. He'll be better playing in the game than not. But
true, I would agree. But
I know Scott. Huh?
I would agree with you.
Oh, I think there's another guy, Scotty Miller. He's supposed to be coming out of the slot.
Yeah.
Sometimes too, so I could see that happening to Godwin and then Brady throwing it. But that's a long shot. But I just feel like that team has more of a chance of like doing some crazy shit because I feel like it's a look that game and I think it's gonna be a lot of pressure on Brady and I feel like it might be bad.
What about Bears versus Detroit without Kenny Galladay? I just don't think they have a lot of people to throw the ball
Detroit does well against the Bears. Like I don't know. Like every time I've seen them make so many like tough catches and shit against them.
Yeah,
it's like are they division rivals?
A lot of talent from the wide receiver position. But yeah, Detroit. So they held Detroit to 13 points the first game, got an interception, and then second game 20 points and got an interception. They didn't get any defensive touchdowns, and that's really what separates you from a points perspective as a defense.
Yeah, you need some. You try to look at the.
There's two things. There's two things. Touchdowns, which are impossible to figure out, and the one thing that I actually think is a really good reader of defensive fantasy points is sacks, because every sack you get a point, and if you think that a quarterback's going down a lot in a game, that's the defense to go with.
Yeah.
So
and
go ahead.
I was gonna say again. I think the what you call it, the freaking I wanted to say the Pelicans. What the fuck? The Saints. I feel like they're gonna get at Brady a lot, but I'm stuck on that game because it's the game of the week, obviously, and I feel like Tampa Bay is gonna look bad that game. But I hope Godwin's gonna get a lot of freaking balls thrown at him.
Yeah. I just don't know. When Tom Brady has pressure on him, that's when he does the best.
Yeah, but he's always been in a system that he knows. Like it's very hard to just learn a whole system.
So but Tom Brady, the one thing that everybody says about Tom Brady is that he's got a photographic memory. Like that's not something I'm actually worried about. And also because Bruce Arians and Tom Brady probably constructed an offense together. Because Arians is a really well-known coach. Like this isn't his first rodeo at all. And,
I know that.
You know what I mean? So I think they'll know I think they'll be able to put some fucking points on the board in that situation. I understand the contrarian option though of taking the Saints. I could see a world where that happens. But it's hard to judge it based on these because of Jameis Winston, because Jameis Winston was 30 for 30.
Yeah.
For me, I look at something like, oh, where are they? Jacksonville is going to be a team I attack all season long. The Colts defense, they got some solid free agent acquisitions from the defensive side of the ball. And I think that Jacksonville has no weapons. They don't have any real relevant options outside of like Shark, who I just can't imagine. When your wide receiver is by far and away the best guy on your team, that usually leads, or best guy in your offense, that usually leads to L's. You know what I mean? Because it's hard for like you were talking about with Joe Burrow. We saw Gardner Minshew do some great shit last year.
Yeah,
but I think the Colts do some serious damage to Jacksonville in this game, even though they're on the road.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't even think road games matter as much.
Not right now without the. Well, Jacksonville's going to have some fans, but they didn't have a lot of fans to begin with, so.
So yeah, I can see the Colts doing something. I had DJ Chark is one of the guys that I was looking at the wide receiver spot because I know they're going to be asked.
He's going to get 12 targets or more. Yeah, like he's going to get the ball thrown to him constantly. Yeah,
and they're going to always be down. And so it's just those are perfect people like Devontae Parker last year. Like I picked him up super early in my league because I saw that he was getting the opportunities, and he just literally helped drive me to the freaking
I had the same thing.
Playoffs that year.
That's true.
So you can't just look at names in fantasy for sure.
And he wrecked Stephon Gilmore.
Oh yeah.
But what do you think? I know you were talking about Saints. I said the Colts.
I like the Colts. The Colts sound good. And you can also look at Minnesota.
They're only $3,000.
Yeah.
So the thing about Minnesota, as I was saying before, I think Minnesota's due for a terrible year defensively, like a very uncharacteristic year. Xavier Rhodes has been with them for a very long time. Xavier Rhodes was torched a lot last year by some of the league's best wide receivers, so they let him go. And they let go of another defensive captain. I think this team, they're gonna. I'm worried about them defensively, and that's why if you want to go Devonta Adams or even Aaron Rodgers because he's lower priced, I think that's definitely a way to go. And then you want to stack that with Green Bay's defense. You might be able to get away with that, but I think that might be just a shootout. The Green Bay Minnesota game, I think they could both put up 30 points.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that for sure.
All right, let's go Colts. So, now that I've said that, at running back, I was listening to Aaron Rodgers. We don't have to go this guy, but I'm just going to throw him out there as a first name. Jamal Williams has been said all he was doing during the offseason was working on receiving routes and being able to be a better pass catcher out of the backfield. Aaron Rodgers went on Pat McAfee's show yesterday, I believe, and he said that Jamal has been sending me videos all offseason of him just running new receiver routes, like just trying to cut different routes, trying to try new things, and become more of an impact player catching the ball because Aaron Jones completely dominated in the role of lead like guy who gets the carries.
Yeah,
he had an awesome year last year,
and he liked this guy
Jamal Williams
a lot last year.
Yeah,
so I could see that.
It was so I could see.
He had some big catches too. Remember that one touchdown catch he had?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That kid can play, and if they're gonna really use him, and if Aaron Rodgers wants to use him, I'm feeling Aaron Rodgers is gonna have a lot to say in what goes on with that offense for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's just
you think so? Because I don't know. It looks like he's about to be booted out soon, so I don't know how much.
Wait, booted out of Green Bay?
Yeah. Have you not been paying attention to the storylines?
No.
They drafted a quarterback in the first round.
Yeah, but they did that with Brett Favre too, and Brett Favre still played for
Exactly.
years.
And what happened? No,
He
they
played for
didn't. It was
years.
two. No, it was 2 years, and he was out. It's a true. Aaron Rodgers has had interviews already about it, saying that he knows that they're gonna take up. Look it up.
Because Brett Favre played for like 4 seasons with Aaron Rodgers behind him.
Look up Eric on Eric.
All right, this man left Green Bay in 2007.
I like how you're arguing something that like people have talked about for years.
But it's got nothing to do with. But you're confused as to what I'm arguing about.
That's what they do. Green Bay's done this before. They
spent 3 years on not playing at all.
2 years.
3 years. 3 years not playing at all, and then they finally said to Brett Favre after he was fucking 40 years old, "It's time to go." Or 30.
Russell, look up Aaron Rodgers' interview about this year. This is not like a debate. This is like an actual thing.
Neither is what I'm saying. It already happened.
Aaron Rodgers talks about in that interview that he saw what they did to Brett Favre, and he's seeing the writing on the wall now. That's what he's talking about in that interview.
Yeah, but to say that he doesn't have 2 years left with the Packers, or at least
I'm saying he doesn't have much say in the Packers because he literally didn't know that they were going to pick a quarterback until they picked him, and then everyone else told him about it.
Is he starting quarterback?
Yes.
Okay. When he's not, let me know. Fucking
okay.
That's all I'm saying. He is the starting quarterback until fucking further notice. And whoever is starting quarterback for Green Bay historically has had a lot to say with what goes on in the offense. Why do you think they got rid of Mike McCarthy anyways?
Exactly. Then they looked at him as they literally told him, "Don't be the problem, Aaron," when the new head coach came in. Literally, these things are known. This is just known. You don't pay attention to storylines in anything, apparently. So, of course you wouldn't know about this.
Because they're irrelevant.
What are you talking about? Irrelevant. They're very relevant to this. Not. You literally just said Aaron Rodgers. You literally just said Aaron Rodgers has a lot of say in the offense, and he doesn't. It's not. That's
not true, though. What you're saying isn't true. You're telling me that the coach and Aaron Rodgers don't speak and don't set up game plans. That's what you're telling me?
No, but what I'm saying
is... That's what you're telling me. And the quarterback and the head coach on a good team don't set up game plans. That's what you're trying to say. That's not true.
Whatever.
It's not true.
Let's see. We'll see. When it happens later on, don't be like, "Oh, it wasn't because of that."
It's not going to be. I don't believe in bullshit news stories. They're not real. It's fucking ridiculous. Preposterous.
You're talking about interviews that he strictly said this in.
Yeah, but you're trying to tell me that they're gonna what you're saying is Aaron Rodgers is not gonna have a say in what's called on the offense. He's the quarterback.
No, that's not what you said though. You said it. You said if Aaron Rodgers likes Jamal Williams, then that means he's gonna be. No, that doesn't mean that.
Yes, it does.
They could literally say.
It means that. Yes, it does.
All right. Let's see.
It absolutely means that. That's what happens on a team. You make team decisions. The coach doesn't. The coach can bench a guy in Aaron Jones, right? But if you have 2 running backs on your team, right, and the plan is we're gonna split the carries because it's always been that way, and you didn't get rid of Jamal Williams to say to Aaron Jones, "This is your fucking backfield now," I'm pretty sure that he's gonna get plenty of work. And I feel like when Aaron Rodgers comes to you as the quarterback and goes, "I really like what Jamal's doing out there. He's catching passes, let's get him working more in the game plan." Pretty sure that they don't go, "Oh, nah, fuck you, Aaron Rodgers. It's not happening." How do you think Fournette's going to get a lot of touches in the first week?
I'm not sure. When did he get signed? Like last week? I don't know how much Brady's worked with him. Like I don't know. I feel like it's weird. Like Brady's very like. He needs to have a lot of repetition and shit. And I feel like if he doesn't trust you, he doesn't give you as much opportunities. That's why before they called like Edelman, James White, and Gronk, that like triangle of trust or whatever,
Yeah,
because he
but
would
I mean,
only.
since he changed teams, like that's a whole.
Yeah, he has to build a whole new triangle, I guess.
In
But I don't know.
my opinion, I think he saw that Leonard Fournette was cut, right? And he's like, "Fuck, that guy kicked my ass in the playoffs," because he did. He did really well against the Patriots when the Jags played them in the postseason. He had like 3 touchdowns, 100 yards, some shit like that. And
Yeah.
usually when he plays the Patriots, he has pretty solid games. Oh shit! But let's see if I can get some of those games from last year. Oh, they're all. I hate when they do this. Oh, he's traded,
And
so
my
now it just says
and
Jacksonville.
I feel like this might be a blowout game too. I feel like this is not going to be like I don't see this game being a really really close game, but I might be 100% wrong.
What?
But I just look at this game and I feel like there's a lot of like things that look really bad for Tampa Bay going into this game.
Such as?
Just like you get a whole new quarterback to have to learn a whole new system, and then you're going against one of the teams that brought a majority of their pieces back.
Yeah. Do you think? Because, like, the thing about that is, like, yeah, Brady has to learn Arians' system, but Brady is a really particular case. This is a guy who's got, and Belichick said this a lot. Belichick would be like, so sometimes Tom would get into a situation in 2014, let's say, in the playoffs, and he was like, he would come back to me in the huddle and be like, yo, this kind of reminds me of something we did in 07. Can we run the plays from then? Could we try some of this? I remember doing this. And Belichick would be like, all right. I bring that up to say, I think Brady and Arians are going to, it's going to be a huge team effort from that. And I really don't think Arians is going to be calling plays for Brady that Brady might not be prepared for. Brady's the most prepared quarterback of all time. And the last thing I'm worried about is Tom Brady not knowing what to do on the football field. You know what I mean?
But it's a thing you've been doing this for 20 years straight. So you feel that way because you've seen him with the 20 years of experience he's already had in that same scenario. Like nothing had to be changed for him; it had to be changed for other people.
No, but that's where I'm confused. I think you're trying to tell me that Arians isn't going to change his system at all for Brady, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. I don't think Brady would have signed there. I really don't think he would have signed there.
Tell me what's easier for a quarterback, and given the circumstances, you gotta look at the circumstances.
Yeah.
A quarterback learning their system, or 52 players having to learn a whole new system because of the quarterback.
Yeah, but that's an incorrect analysis of that, because that's not the way the football works. Half of the team learns one side of the ball, and the other half learns the other side of the ball. There's no corners learning the offense.
26, whatever, 26. Whatever amount of the offense.
My point being, it's really closer to probably 20 guys, number one. And number two, Tom Brady spent all summer, regardless of Corona, Tom Brady spent all summer with these fucking guys, holding private workouts and private meetings.
It's different when you have people like having to play in an actual game against these people.
Yeah, but to say that they didn't come up with new plays for Brady is insane. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you adapt to your personnel, especially if you're any good of a coach.
In a normal year, but there was no preseason. There was no, like, he didn't go through.
Even more of a reason to say that Tom Brady's going to bring stuff from the Patriots. That's true. I would agree with you. It's a very weird year, and they didn't have time to prep. But if anybody got prep time, Brady's like the only guy to have the balls to go, fuck, for better or worse, because I don't actually agree with this decision. But he was the guy who went, fuck Corona, everybody come to my field. Doesn't matter. It's fucking May, I don't care. Like, and he was putting stuff all over his social media about it too. Like, I just think I said this before and I'll say it again, no one in the history of football has ever been more prepared to play football than Tom Brady. And I grew up hating this motherfucker.
And I understand that, but you're talking about him from a perspective of him being in the same exact system and culture.
So he
for
changes
20
teams
years.
and loses his habits? That's what you're telling me?
No, I'm saying you got to develop new habits because you have different things that are going on and a different system, different personnel. You have to. You telling me he's gonna know how to throw it to every single receiver? He's gonna know every single receiver's cuts,
I'm saying
everything.
guys like Scotty Miller, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, the guys who have been working with him all summer, yes, are going to know how to catch passes from him. Yes, I am saying that.
Okay, I think they'll be good, but I think the first week is gonna be probably Brady's worst week.
That I can understand. That makes actually some sense to me. Especially, is New Orleans going to have fans in the building?
I assume not.
Because
or if they do, it's going to be very minimal. Because
yeah, off the top of my head, I can't remember. I know Florida is obviously one of the states. Texas, Missouri had a couple of fans in there for last night's Kansas City game. I think if they have no fans, it'll be easier for Tampa Bay to get off and get points. But if there's fans in that building, I think you're right. I think that'll be a more difficult game. Because there'll be some kind of environment in there. But I don't know. It's hard to bet against Tom Brady, man.
Yeah,
it's fucking hard.
Mean,
it's just hard.
I just feel like I could see he. I don't know. It's just so many things are just stacked against him to do really well in this game that I wouldn't bet on him in this game like at all.
Yeah.
And I definitely bet against him before I bet with him on this game.
Yeah, I feel you. Fucking what about this guy? Fucking Mark Andrews. Andrews projects to see a higher snap count in 2020. So here's the story on that and why I'm laughing at that. Mark Andrews, for all the great things that he did last year, and he did have some really solid games last year, he was only running routes on plays like less than 50% of the time. Like if he was in the tight end spot and he was going out for a pass, there was like an extremely high percentage that he was going to get the football. Like it was crazy. So to see that he's going to get a higher snap count just means that all this stuff is going to get better. And Cleveland historically is horrific against tight ends specifically. Denzel Ward is probably going to have a field day with Hollywood Brown because they both are speed demons, and I think they'll be able to, or I think Denzel will be able to give Marquise Brown a lot of problems. But inside, it's really just those two guys. It's Hollywood Brown and it's Mark Andrews. So if I say Brown's going to have a tough game, that really fucking narrows it down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at 6,000, I think that's a good guy to look at. There's a couple of guys here, though, too.
Doesn't he have another tight end to be?
No, Hayden Hurst is now part of the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta Hawks. Now I'm fucking doing the basketball thing. The Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Fucking. He's here, and he could probably have a really big year for them because Hooper had a huge year, and now Hooper's playing in Cleveland. So Hayden Hurst is going to have his opportunities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want to see him play for a week first before I take him on from a DraftKings perspective. But what do you think? See any guys here that you that stand out?
Do you think Scary Terry is someone you could? Because I heard it. You know that they're gonna be down in the game, and I heard his quarterback Dwayne Haskins is supposedly supposed to have been better this year. So
even if he's not better, look at the target share in the last, or not target share, but total targets in the last 4 weeks of the season. If it gets like this, like if he gets these 7-8 targets, he turned it into a solid rookie year.
Yeah.
Obviously some down games, but that's gonna happen to almost everybody unless your name's Michael Thomas. Fucking. I don't have any Terry McLaurin anywhere because I'm terrified.
What?
Because I understand the concept of bad team, bad offense, one good player, which is the same thing we were saying with DJ Shark, right?
Or more, yeah. Well, I just think I usually look at it more as bad team goes against good team, so they're going to be down a lot, so they're going to have to throw a lot.
Yeah.
So,
and
that's
most importantly, Philadelphia horrible against wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
And
they also had
Terry
a lot of
did pretty good
injuries
against them.
last year.
Yeah, but even before that, like they always got
They weren't
burned
the
by
greatest.
strong
the
wide
secondary.
receivers. Terry McLaurin, 25 points both times he played Philadelphia.
Yeah.
5 catches and a touchdown in each one. Let's see, what do we got here? Let's do this. I always like to put the guy who's playing in the afternoon games in my flex spot just in case I want to make a change.
Yeah.
But I like this. So we got Tyrod Taylor. We got Kenyon Drake. We got Jamal Williams. We have A.J. Green. We have Deshaun Jackson, Terry McLaurin, Hunter Henry, Michael Thomas, and the Colts defense.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I think that's decent.
This is not bad at all.
It's a lot of boom bust, but
that's the game we play, my
yeah.
friend. That's good shit.
You should send that to me because I'm trying
to.
God, I like to switch my shit up, bro.
I will. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you when we sign off, and we're gonna do so right now. For Apex Greatness, I am Russell Broderick. That is Dario Albuquerque, and we are saying peace.
Deuces.